Hello and welcome to ETBFSI Virtual Summit Fireside Chat discussion on driving digital transformation in 2021 and beyond. Over the last 1 year, what we have analyzed is that the ongoing pandemic has accelerated digital delivery of services and work from home has become a new normal. When you look at banking and financial institutions, they are relying and using digital in significant ways for everything, from KYC to payment to loans processing. To figure out what's driving these services and how one of India's largest bank is constantly evolving and strengthening its digital backbone, I am joined by Mr. Amit Saxena, Deputy Chief Technology Officer, Digital Banking with the State Bank of India Global IT Center. Mr. Saxena, thank you for joining us today. And let me begin by asking you, how is SBI using digital transformation as a means to address many challenges that is emanating during the pandemic? If you could share some light on your digital architecture, some of the things that you have done over the last 1 year, sir.
Thank you very much for having me on this forum itself. And last 1 year has been quite a challenging. We thought that this year we would be able to do things a bit different itself. But given the kind of a pandemic situation we are into. But having said that, that has not stopped moving the State Bank of India from one transformation to another stage of a transformation. So we have done a lot of our transformation with respect to when we have launched the digital banking platform, YONO itself. The current focus, what we are trying to do, we are trying to, in last 1 year, what we have achieved is we have introduced a video KYC. We are trying to launch a end-to-end loan processing through a digital format itself, wherein we should be able to give it to all our customers so that they should not be visiting any of the branches. We would start with the smaller loans to start with, but moving forward, we want to do it for all the loans itself. We already have most of the loans. Like for example, if you have got a loan from other bank, what we call as a existing to the bank customer, you can transfer that loan on a YONO platform by transferring your loan to YONO platform itself, right? And that is a very good journey. It's still not end-to-end, but it would help you because we will generate there's some of the loan processing thing which still needs to be done through the system itself, right? So we would generate you a sequence number, and using that sequence number you can speak to somebody. Will call you. You do not need to go anywhere, and then you have to upload some of your documents, and then it would be done because that's an integration with the CRM system. Having said that, that is only one part of the journey where we are trying to give customer convenience itself. But at the same time, what we are looking at how our architecture is revamped itself. So we have worked on most of our bigger systems architecture. We are re-looking at doing some of the architecture transformation. Now, architecture transformation is not something which is easily said then done itself. So you would see that a lot of things which we are trying to do. So one thing which we are very focused about, which is the standardization and rationalization. So what happens into a system, IT system, just for the sake of our viewers, that you would see that there are a lot of different systems which are trying to integrate with each other. And usually large banks like us, we have to get some of those things into a manner that most of the systems should be able to interact through a single interface. And we should avoid a multiple interface system itself. So that kind of a standardization we have done last year, wherein now most of the systems are interacting through a enterprise service bus, and they are interacting in a seamless manner. So that helps bank with respect to that. Now the number of APIs which we are having, that is reduced. The number of security related things gets centralized, and also most of the system are now able to know that which APIs they should be using. That's a kind of a architecture revamp we have done. But that's the first step, because once we are trying to do architecture revamp, the second thing comes in how you are going to handle the scalability. And just to let you know, the last year the volumes have increased almost double itself, what we were having, right? That's not going to stop. They are going to double by this year also. So what we have to see is that how we are going to scale our system. So we have an approach with respect to when we are building such system, and because we run some of the largest transaction processing system in the country itself, we do a scalability pre-hand then of waiting upon. So we are planning now the scalability by Q4 of this year than of trying to do. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. One thing that you mentioned about that, most of the banks, be it SBI or any bank, I mean, the banking and financial institution comparatively is highly tech friendly, and a lot of modernization has happened over the last many years. A lot of investment has also gone into the traditional IT infrastructure. When you talk about the scalability, that comes the modernization factor comes into play. How do you modernize your application which you have built, let's say, 2 years ago? So how do you, I mean, on the onset of pandemic, I mean, absolutely you would have gone into this kind of discussion, either modernization is starting a new project. How do you deal with that, wherein you have already invested time, money, a lot of money into creating an application which is running quite well. But the pandemic has created a kind of challenge where the volume is so, I mean, it's double what you used to get possibly 1.5 years ago. So, how do you manage this balance?
there are two parts of the question itself, and I will try answering both the parts itself. So modernization has nothing to do with the scalability. And when we build a system, we always make it sure by giving the projections for next couple of years. That way we would be able to handle. So even if the volumes have doubled, they are not hitting our system. But the bigger part of the query is how we are going to modernize our system. Now, one thing what we are, I touch upon a point of a standardization.
Right.
The other point is of the rationalization, right? So are we seeing the systems which are rationalized in a manner wherein we are able to use them out to their maximum extent, and how we are going to achieve it, right? So there comes in a point when you start re-looking at your systems from an aspect that which thing is going where, how many logs we are generating, what's the kind of a data point we are generating, what's the size of the document size, and can we improve on it so that we should be able to use our system to the maximum extent itself. And the other part is that what we have to look at, that moving forward, we have to have a system which has to be have got a self-healing capability, or what we call as a site reliability engineering itself. So if you have got a SRE involved, and if you have to build in a system which should be able to auto heal themselves, and we are working to see that how many things into a system we should be able to automate. What are the early signs trigger point which should be made available to us through the system? So it's a combination of multiple softwares and products which have to work together in tandem. Then only you would be able to. And those software should be made available both at your current system as well as the downstream system. Then only you would be able to do a correlation.
Right.
Just to give you an idea, if you would see that, say for example, if I want to go from point A to point B, but I have to do a hop in between at a point Z, then what's the time my system is taking between point A to Z and Z to C, because Z to B itself. So we should be knowing about it. And if there's a degradation in that performance, then how we are going to come to know about it. And that goes not only for the software system, that also goes with respect to, because most of these systems have got one step wherein the OTP needs to be sent, or
Right.
clear the transaction get done. So we have to work with the telecom provider and aggregators to see how well this whole transaction is being fulfilled end to end.
Right. For the banking sector during the pandemic, I mean, ensuring the customer delight, and especially the kind of CX that you would have offered in pre-pandemic era, has been one of the challenge, because the empathy that the one-to-one conversation brings is a bit difficult to actually replicate in any form. But I would like to understand from you, based on your experience at SBI, How are you managing it? What is your sense of customer experience side of the business during the pandemic?
So customer experience is something which we keep on constantly working upon. It's not something due to pandemic or other thing. But currently, what has become that customer has taken a center stage. So we have started building everything around the customer itself. How a customer would see to it, how the customer is going to, like it or won't like it, whether we can reduce the number of steps. And we used to give an example of pizza delivery for every journey what we are trying to do. So what you do on a pizza itself, right? You open an app, select a pizza, and then you give an order. The 4 stages are pizza is being prepared, pizza is being baked, and then the out for delivery and delivered itself. So if you can keep your journeys as simple as getting a pizza delivered to your home, then you would see that, and that's a principle. And I've just taken a pizza delivery example, but that's true for your car booking itself to an Ola, Uber also, right? Most of the good customer experience journey, you would see that they have got only 4 steps in it, right? So that we have done into most of our journeys, that they should be completed in 4 steps, and all the backend processing which is being done, they have to be done in parallel itself. So that's what we have done. Wherever there's a backend processing which needs to be done, because so what we have done a parallel processing system itself. So you say, for example, you are supposed to upload your photograph, right? But you can take up to 2 minutes to find a good photograph to upload, right? But after your photograph is uploaded, then the backend system has to already know your data which you have filled in. This is that they should be able to do a processing, and by that time you have uploaded your photograph, we should be able to give you a result with respect to that. This is something which is your eligibility for a loan itself. So that kind of a parallel processing, most of the systems have to built in. That's my advice itself.
Right. What are the next big plans for SBI as India's largest bank? I know the digital transformation, lot of virtual machine, everything, either modernization or even experimenting with new technology. SBI is next to none actually. But based on your experience during the pandemic, did you find some new trend in terms of technology in enablement which were actually helping you? Something that you see possibly going to be a new normal down the line, even in post-pandemic era?
One thing which we are looking forward to is how we are going to get rid of mobile application, and wherein we should have a mobile application and a portal working onto a same technology platform. That would be a paradigm shift for us, because we have got a kind of a separate kind of a place for mobile banking, and then there are portals itself. But we are evaluating new technologies to see how well we can move over there, and that would be a tectonic shift for the technology platform, how we are using it. But I believe once we are able to do it, the other thing what I have touched upon earlier also, that the auto healing system and the site reliability engineering, what we have to see that how well we can do it. If we are able to achieve these 2 things, then I believe we would be able to keep the bank onto the front foot with respect to the technology as well as the architecture itself.
Mr. Saxena, thank you so much for your time. You spoke quite well on the digital transformation journey, some of the steps taken by the State Bank of India, and even your views on overall as to how technology should be used down the line by any bank, and some of the things that SBI has in mind to implement down the line. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.